everyone, welcome back. We are going to continue our fashion business lessons, and today we are going to be talking about retail. Now, retail is a huge mogul, I don't know if that's a word, in the fashion industry, so we're kind of going to focus on one particular arm of retail today. So let's get into it. Okay, let's look at the definition. Retail definition: the sale of goods to the public in relatively small quantities for use or consumption rather than for resale. Okay? So what that basically means is that a retail store, our retail business, their job is to make sure that we as customers get the goods. Now, obviously, in this case, we're talking about clothing, right? So the store as a whole sell the clothes. We as customers go to the store and buy clothes and use them for our personal use. Not really in the sense of like a company selling to another company, which is a different type of business. But like I said, we're going to go into more of the creative side to a retail chain versus the business side of part of it. And I'll explain here in a minute what that is. Now, I don't necessarily want to talk about what we see as customers when we go into a retail store like Target or Kohl's or JCPenney. I'm not going to talk to you guys about like a sales associate or a department manager, because that's kind of like all pretty well known. I want to talk to you guys about careers and businesses in the retail industry that are more behind the scenes, that not a lot of people are aware of, and also maybe potential jobs that you guys could consider doing or going into college or university to do. So let's get into that. So just as I was talking about, fashion industry as a whole has its own little like donut and different tiers. Retail kind of also has its own bubble and all these different departments to make retail happen. And we're going to go over those departments. So the first department that we're going to look at is in corporate retail is merchandise. So merchandise is the product, right? The skirt, the shirt, the dress, the shoes, whatever that product is, that's the merchandise, right? But when we necessarily talk about merchandise, we're not just talking about the product, we're talking about the people that directly associate and work with that product. And we'll talk more about that later. So merchandise, whenever I say merchandise, I'm not just talking about that particular thing or item. I'm talking about the person that deals with those items. Okay? Logistics. Logistics, in a simple sense, is how to get the merchandise from A to B. Okay? How to get the merchandise from manufacturing to warehouse to truck to store. That's logistics. The people that deal with that aspect or in that department of corporate retail. Next, marketing. The marketing department deals with promotion. This could be anywhere from commercials to billboards to coupons to deals, anything like that. Anything to promote and market the business to consumer. Next department we are looking at is accounting. Accounting is kind of self-explanatory. It's dealing with the money within the business. So not just how much money is being made, but how much money is being outsourced to use for marketing, logistics, and merchandising, and all the other departments. Okay? Next department, human resources and communications. So whenever you apply for a job and you fill out an application, that application goes to the Human Resource Center of that company. So human resources is kind of like the hub that deals with all employee stuff. So like retirement, payment, if you have a complaint about the company, that's who you would reach out to, okay? Communications, I kind of put in the same bubble because it has to do with communicating to human basis. So communications is basically not only business people of that company communicating to customers or potential buyers, it's also how, let's say, the boss of that corporate company communicates to its associates and managers and other department heads, right? So it's the inner working on how, let's say, I as a teacher was going to talk to you as the student. Okay, next department, analytics. Analytics is basically their job is to gather as much data as they can about the company. So how many people visited a certain store? How many people bought this certain item? How many people used this certain coupon? How many people shopped on, Christmas Eve or anything like that? Analytics, that's their job. And that's a really important job to have, because if analytics can create a database of so many people responded to this product more than this product, and they bought it during this time more than this time, that kind of influences the whole business as a whole on making decisions on when and how to put out a product. All right, next, private label / brand. So every company, as we're talking about, examples like Target, Macy's, JCPenney, and Sears, every company has its own brand, something that is exclusively to Target or something that is exclusively to Macy's. So we're talking about clothing in general. So Macy's might have in their store all Good American. I think Good American is owned by Khloe Kardashian. So Good American might be sold in Macy's for jeans, but then Macy's would also have a jean company or brand that's exclusive to Macy's. And we're going to talk about that later in the video. But that is another department. So their private label or brand, their exclusive brand that they sell in corporate. All right, last department, visual merchandising. So we talked about the people that deal with the product, what they buy, how many of it, what it is they're buying. Visual merchandising is kind of like the it's kind of like what they're going to put the product on. So it's the shelving, it's the displays, it's the lighting, it's the fitting rooms, it's what's in the fitting rooms. It's all about visually appealing to the customer to want to buy more. So we'll get into that in a second too. And notice I didn't put anything with the internet on here because I really want to focus on a traditional retail business. And in another video, we'll talk more about e-commerce and internet type of thing. But for now, we're just going to focus on a traditional customer goes into store type of retail business. Okay. So these are a lot of departments, a lot, and we're not going to go through all of them, okay? The only ones that I want to go through with you guys is merchandise, visual merchandise, private label and brand, and marketing, okay? Those are the 4 that we're going to go over and cover into detail today. So we are not going to go over any more of the more business and less fashion business ones. All right, so let's go and dive deep into these 4 departments. Okay, so we're going to take Macy's as an example, and these are the 4 departments that we're going to go over. We have private label / brand, visual merchandising, and marketing. So the first one we're going to go over is private label and brand. So our private label definition is a retailer's name as used on a product sold by the retailer but manufactured by another company. Okay? I know you guys, there's a glare here. So I'll just read the definition. So the definition of a brand is a type of product manufactured by a particular company under a particular name. Okay? So Macy's sells a lot of different types of company clothing, right? And our example was Good American, which is Khloe Kardashian's jean company. So Macy's bought so many items from Good American to sell in their store, but on top of that, they also have a private label called American Rag, which also produces jeans. So they have both everything, okay? So private labeling is kind of like a brand in the sense of it's a name of a company that produces product, right? And American Rag is just an example of Macy's private label, okay? So we're gonna go into little bits of depths of what the roles play in private labeling and how that affects Macy's per se. All right, so let's talk more about private label. So some of the key roles in private labeling is a designer, an assistant designer, and a developer of product, okay? So American Rag does jeans, right? So it's the designer's job to design a certain pair of jeans that still fits into what Macy's is selling and who Macy's is selling for. Okay, so Macy's might say to American Rag, the designer of American Rag, hey, we need jeans that don't fit like this, gotta look like that, and do this function. Okay, so it's the designer's responsibility to accommodate that because it's exclusively only a Macy's company. So they kind of have to fall under what exactly are the needs of Macy's customers. Okay, an assistant designer would be to assist the head designer in figuring out the needs of those customers and what American Rag is trying to present itself in Macy's and how it's trying to present itself in Macy's. Developer of product. So this could be someone who samples this product to make sure that it's functioning correctly. Now, obviously, the manufacturing of the actual product and its samples that are created for that product are done somewhere else. They're manufactured somewhere else. This is just like the key roles of what a private label would need to function. Okay, so these are one of the roles that you could look into for your assignment. Now, let's move on to visual merchandising. All right, let's look at visual merchandising. So the definition of visual merchandising is the practice in the retail industry of developing floor plans and three-dimensional displays in order to maximize sales. So basically what that means is that if you go into a store, again, let's take Macy's, right? you go into a store and you notice how the mannequins are. Not necessarily what they're dressed in, but if they have a head, if they have eyelashes, if they have hair, if they have a face, if they have hands, that's a good example. Or maybe what the product is actually on, what the shelves look like, what color are the walls, that type of thing. Like a corporate level visual merchandiser's job is to identify what the company's customer is and how to better appeal to that customer so that the business overall can have more customers and have more product being sold. So like another good example is Hot Topic. Their aesthetic and their customer is a lot different than a Forever 21 customer, and you can see it right as you walk in the two stores, right? So Hot Topic has more, they have black walls, they have rock music playing, they have dark tables for their clothes to be folded on, versus Forever 21, they have more ceiling to floor mirrors. They have decorative tables that look very, chic and clean. They have chandeliers over certain tables. It all goes into how to appeal to a certain customer to get them in their store and have a good experience in that store. So a visual merchandiser's job is to catch on to those trends and what would appeal to that customer so that customer would stay and maybe purchase something. So that is another role that you can look up for your assignment as a visual merchandiser on a corporate level. Now, on a retail level of an everyday visual merchandiser, so corporate level visual merchandiser chooses, I want this big royal looking chair at the center of this display in all of our stores. So they go and design the chair or find the chair or have the chair made and sent off to all of the stores in California, right? So the visual merchandiser there in their California store would take that chair, that royal chair, and put it where it's supposed to. So again, it's just trickles down. So that's what a visual merchandiser would do at a corporate level and what a visual merchandiser at a retail level would do. So that's another role that you could look up for your assignment. Okay, moving right along to merchandising. All right, so the next job on our list is merchandising. Let's look at the definition. The definition of merchandising is the promotion of goods and or services that are available for retail sale. Okay? So when they say promotion of goods and or services, let's take the goods part because we're talking about garments in particular. So their job is to determine what you as a customer are going to like and what you're going to buy. So if they see a certain type of top or a certain type of hoodie or a certain type of jean or garment or specific garment is trending or is going to trend, it's their job to determine whether it's a good garment to sell in store, okay? And that goes down to, let's say I'm a merchandiser for Macy's and I say that this top is gonna be really good to buy. So I buy so many of them to go out into Macy's stores, and half of them sell. So it's my job whether to determine if I'm going to rebuy this garment and how much I'm actually going to rebuy. So that's kind of the breakdown of a merchandiser, or someone who's in merchandising when it comes to Macy's. And there can be multiple merchandisers for one company. So you might have a person that buys only for swimwear. You might have a person that only buys for women's wear, for kids wear, maybe just for tops and the other one for bottoms. So a store can have multiple merchandisers under one company. So that's another role and job that you can look for in your assignment. So let's move on to the very last one. Okay, so we're at our very last role, which is marketing. So let's take a look at the definition. The action or business of promoting and selling products or services, including market research and advertising. So we just went from a buyer, right? Let's say like as a merchandiser, I was gonna buy these tops. So as someone in marketing, their job is to promote this top, as an example, the best of their ability so that people will buy it, right? This includes maybe having a deal where you buy this top and you get 50% off of pants, or you buy one, get one free, or maybe it is marketing and having a celebrity wear it and post it on Instagram or anything like that, or other types of promotion in order to promote the product being sold. So it's all about making sure that you are promoting product in such a way that appeals to your customer in order to sell it more. So that is another role that you can possibly look up for your assignment. So we are off of retail. I know that was probably a lot for you guys to kind of take in, but retail all in all is such a big subject that I wanted to kind of simplify it as much as I possibly could by still giving you guys something to learn and maybe possibly consider as a job. So let's say you don't want to be a fashion designer. You can always be in fashion marketing, fashion merchandising, work at a private label, or be involved with more of the visual merchandising instead of the actual clothing. So just something to consider. All right, so your assignment is going to be in Schoology. It is going to be the same as last week's. So instead of searching up the roles from last week's video, you're going to search up the jobs and roles from this week's video. And make sure it is at a more corporate level. So you're not looking for job descriptions that are in Macy's off of, in Pasadena. You're looking for roles that are in corporate Macy's that's in New York. Those are the type of job descriptions that I'm asking from you. Again, if you have any questions or are kind of confused about something, please message me on Schoology or email me, or you can even message me on our fashion Sam Rayburn High School Fashion Twitter account. You can message me on there too. Please, if you have any questions, contact me before you submit anything. Okay. So if you're stuck or you don't understand something, don't prevent that from you turning in an assignment. Contact me, ask me your questions. We could probably also figure out a Google Meet for us to talk one-on-one. If you feel more comfortable with that, just let me know how I can best help you. And also, Guys, keep in contact with your friends or your classmates. You know, we did a good job of having people contact people and doing the best on our end. But if you know that you have a classmate that's in my class and you know if they're going through something or if they're not, like, just check up on each other, be there for each other as much as you possibly can. And also let me know what's going on with you, if there's anything going on with you. Let me know if you want to let me know. All right, so be sure to turn something in, check up on your classmates, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.